Hello, Namaskar and Adab to all my friends from your friend astrologer and guide Irfan, once more with you from your very own channel Astro Assurance. Sometimes we look at our horoscopes and then we look at our lives and then we try and compare them and say that there is X Raj Yoga or Y Dhan Yoga in my horoscope, but why is it not clicking? Why is it not giving me the results that it is expected to give the results for? And sometimes we wait for that dasha of a planet to come which is giving us a Raj Yoga or a Dhan Yoga, and then we expect everything to be hunky-dory, things to be good, things to just fly and take off, and the dasha will be a springboard for us when the dasha of a good planet or a strong planet in a Raj Yoga will be coming upon us, or even in the Antardasha. But how often does it happen that the Raj Yoga gives us results, or the Dasha of a planet which is giving us a Raj Yoga, in fact a strong Raj Yoga is giving us results? How many times does it happen? And why is it that in spite of a horoscope being replete with yogas, Raj Yogas and sometimes Dhan Yogas as well, yet we don't see the kind of results that the horoscope promises? And I want to delve a little bit more into it so that I can guide you on how to make your Raj Yogas work for you. So this video is going to be a combination of why Raj Yogas don't work for you and how to help the Raj Yogas work for you. First of all, what is the differentiation between a Raj Yoga and a Dhan Yoga? Raj Yogas are those yogas which give you power and influence. They may not give you money. So don't mistake a Raj Yoga as the yoga giving you money, materialistic pleasures, materialistic success. That may not happen. If a Raj Yoga is given to you, it means the potency is given to you, the strength is given to you, the power and influence is given to you, or the opportunity of using the power and influence is given to you to manifest better results. Through that you may get Dhan. Dhan or wealth or materialistic betterment or output will be only as an output of the Raj Yoga and not a direct manifestation. So very few Raj Yogas will have an opportunity of also giving you Dhan Yogas, or also being Dhan Yogas, or giving you wealth. But there are very few of them, and then there are strict conditions. If you are born with good Raj Yogas and if you are given all the materialistic pleasures and great life, everything, then what is the fun in living? Then you will not be able to understand and be grateful for the Raj Yogas. You will have to struggle a lot for the manifestation of the yogas, and hence those people who struggle in the direction of the Raj Yoga or the Dhan Yoga get results, and others don't get results. And there are many other factors also apart from the effort and understanding the Raj Yogas. Let's talk about them. So first, a Raj Yoga is a yoga which gives you power and influence. It need not necessarily give you Dhan or materialism. For example, the Panch Mahapurush Yogas. The Panch Mahapurush Yogas to a large extent are power and influence yoga rather than wealth or materialistic opulence or abundance giving yogas. And very few times will a horoscope have more Panch Mahapurush Yogas, because the Panch Mahapurush Yogas are formed only in the Kendras, and very few ascendants will be able to give you 4 Kendras where the rulership or the exaltation will be of the 5 main planets and not the luminaries. The luminaries are of course Sun and Moon, and they don't form a Panch Mahapurush Yoga. The other 5 planets form a Panch Mahapurush Yoga, which are namely Mars, Mercury, Venus, Jupiter and Saturn. These in the Kendra, if they are in their own sign or the exaltation sign, give you a Panch Mahapurush Yoga. But very rarely will an ascendant give you a combination of 3 to 4 such yogas. One ascendant which gives you more opportunities of the Panch Mahapurush Yogas is obviously Aries, because in Aries you can have Mars, which is placed in the Lagna and forms the Ruchak Mahapurush Yoga. Then in the fourth house in Cancer, Jupiter can be placed there in exaltation and give you the Hamsa Yoga. Then in Libra in the seventh house, you can have a Venus placed there and give you a Malavya Yoga, and you can have a Saturn placed in the 10th house and give you a Sasha Yoga in Capricorn. However, Saturn in the 10th house has less directional strength, and Venus has less directional strength in the 7th house as well, though the 7th house Libra, Venus rules. So obviously, if you have Mars in the Lagna in Aries and have a Ruchak Mahapurush Yoga, it is a strong Ruchak Mahapurush Yoga. But where does Mars get its maximum directional strength? Mars and Sun get their strongest directional strength in the 10th house, and hence Cancer ascendant natives have a greater and a better go at these yogas, the Panch Mahapurush Yogas. And how? If it is Cancer ascendant, Jupiter and Mercury both get directional strength in the ascendant. So if Jupiter is placed in exaltation in the Lagna in Cancer, forming a Hamsa Yoga, then it's a powerful Hamsa Yoga. Then if Cancer is the ascendant, then the fourth house is Libra. Venus and Moon both get directional strength in the fourth house. So if Venus is placed in the fourth house in Libra, then you have a strong Malavya Yoga there, because of Venus being placed in a house which is its own and having directional strength. And then Saturn has good directional strength in the 7th house in its own sign of Capricorn, forming a strong Sasha Yoga. And because the 7th house also has Libra energies, so it's a strong powerful Sasha Yoga. And then last but not the least, you have the 10th house Aries, and if Mars is placed there, Mars own sign forms the Ruchak Mahapurush Yoga, then it's a strong yoga. So it's only the Cancer ascendant native who can give you very strong and powerful Panch Mahapurush Yogas. So obviously, if you have a Mahapurush Yoga but the planet has less directional strength, for example, you have a Capricorn or an Aquarius ascendant native with Saturn in the Lagna. Saturn loses most of its directional strength in the Lagna. So obviously the Sasha Yoga in the Lagna is a weak one. Second, Saturn in the Lagna is not the best of placements even in a Sasha Yoga. And so it is, you're better off with a Sasha Yoga which is in the 7th house first and the 10th house second. But the Sasha Yoga is not so great in the Lagna and in the 4th house. The Lagna has Aries energies where Saturn gets debilitated. That's why Sasha Yoga is not so good in the Lagna. And the 4th house has Venus and Cancer energies, especially Cancer energies, because Cancer is the natural ruler of the 4th house. And Moon and Saturn together form the Vish dosha, and that's why Saturn doesn't do very well in the 4th house as well. So one needs to understand what kind of a yoga and how it is being manifested in your horoscope. Even with a strong Panch Mahapurush Yoga but less directional strength, the yoga will not bear you great fruits. So that is one. Not a strong planet placed in a less directional strength, a weak Panch Mahapurush Yoga. Second, a yoga should not be spoiled by a malefic. If the yoga is spoiled by a malefic either through a conjunction or through an aspect, then a lot of energy of that yoga is sucked by that malefic. Especially if the yoga is being formed by the benefic planets such as Jupiter, Moon, Venus or Mercury, then the aspect of a Rahu or a Saturn or a Ketu or a Mars or a Sun on that yoga takes away a lot of energy. Sometimes if the yoga has the aspect of a malefic but it is a friendly planet, for example, if it's a Gajakesari yoga and Mars aspects the Gajakesari yoga, then Mars is a friendly planet to both Jupiter and Moon. Yet because Mars is a malefic, so Mars gives a lot of aggression and rushing into dangers, rushing into action kind of a manifestation to the Gaj Kesari Yoga and takes away the wise, wisdom oriented steps that a person may take when the Gaj Kesari Yoga involving Jupiter and Moon is not spoilt by any malefic including Mars. And so this is the second one, no malefic aspects or a conjunction with any good yoga should take away that strength. And we talked about directional strength. Let's take the example of, just to elaborate the directional strength part and where a yoga may be good or not. If, say, take the example of a Gaj Kesari Yoga. Now, where is the Raj Yoga, where does it do very well? A Raj Yoga does very well in the Kendras and in the Trikonas. And why the Kendras? The Panch Mahapurush Yogas are all formed in the Kendras, they are not formed in the Trikonas. The Trikonas give you are capable of giving you more Dhan Yogas than Raj Yogas. But even the Dhan Yoga is better off in the Kendra than in the Trikona, because Kendras are the pillars of your life and many times they will give you results irrespective of what the Trikonas are giving. The Trikonas give you some freedom and sometimes we spoil the freedom that given to us by making wrong choices. But a very strong Raj Yoga or a Dhan Yoga in the Kendras where there is no blemish on the yoga is a better thing than being in the Trikonas. So if the Gaj Kesari Yoga is formed in the Kendras, it is better off. However, in the Kendras, if the Gaj Kesari Yoga is formed, for example, in the 10th house, the 10th house has Capricorn energies. Jupiter and Moon both lose their energies in the 10th house. One, Jupiter gets debilitated in Capricorn, and so Jupiter is not the best of planets in the 10th house for a Gaj Kesari Yoga, and Moon has directional strength in the 4th house, and the 10th house is directly opposite the 4th house, which means wherever the planet is getting directional strength from the opposite house to it, that's where the planet will lose most of its directional strength. So if Saturn gets its directional strength in the 7th house, then it will lose most of its directional strength in the Lagna. Moon has maximum strength in the 4th house, as well as Venus has more strength in the 4th house directional strength. Both of them will lose their directional strength in the 10th house. So that's why the Gaj Kesari Yoga between Jupiter and Moon in the 10th house is not very strong. And if the Gaj Kesari Yoga is formed, for example, in the Capricorn sign in the 10th house or in any other Kendra house, Jupiter gets debilitated in Capricorn and Moon loses a lot of its strength in Capricorn for the obvious reasons that we talked about. So a Gaj Kesari Yoga is not the best when formed in an inimical sign or in a house where Jupiter and Moon lose most of their strength, or even if one planet loses most of its directional strength and gets into a combustion or a debilitation sign or under the aspect of a malefic, then too the yoga will lose most of its strength. So that's the other point, that the Raj Yoga or the Dhan Yoga should not be formed in a house where the planets involved lose a lot of directional strength, or be in a sign where it's either malefic sign or not a powerful sign or not a friendly sign. That's the other. The third part of why Raj Yogas don't work for you is also how tight the conjunction is. So for example, Jupiter and Moon in a tight conjunction will give you a strong Gaj Kesari Yoga. However, if Jupiter and Moon are in Kendra to each other, still they will give you a strong Gaj Kesari Yoga, because they have almost the same number of degrees even when they are in Kendra to each other. Let me explain. If Jupiter is in Cancer at 15 degrees and if Moon is in Capricorn again at roughly around 15 degrees, then Jupiter and Moon being in Kendra to each other, opposite to each other, 7th house to each other, hence Kendra to each other, it's a strong Gaj Kesari Yoga, because more or less they are in the same degrees. So the degree difference between two planets, if they are in Kendra to each other or in their conjunction to each other, should not be more than 4 to 5 degrees. The longer degree differentiation between two planets, whether they are in conjunction or in opposite houses, then the poorer and poorer or weaker and weaker the yoga becomes. So keep in mind how tight the conjunction is, how tight the aspect on each other is when they are in kendra to each other, and being kendra to each other gives you a yoga. So that is very, very crucial. Also look at, if you see a malefic aspecting that yoga, how strong is the aspect? The fifth aspect of a Rahu on a Gajkesari yoga in the Kendra, where Rahu is aspecting it from the 9th house, is a powerful aspect, fifth aspect in the Lagna. However, if Rahu is at 3 degrees in the 9th house, whereas both Jupiter and Moon are at 18 and 19 degrees each in the Lagna, then Rahu's aspect on the Gajkesari yoga is a weak aspect. So it will still take away a lot of energy of the Gajkesari yoga, but you will still have enough of power left in the yoga to still manifest its results. So these things have to be looked into to see whether the Raj yoga or the Dhan yoga is giving you good results or not. Now the most crucial part, how do you ensure that a Raj yoga works for you, even a strong one? Firstly, don't take it for granted that a Raj yoga will work for you just by virtue of being present in your horoscope, even if it's a strong, powerful with all the directional strength. It gives you the potential, but the manifestation is left in your hands. If you don't manifest the Raj yoga or the Dhan yoga, you will not get results. As simple as that. Those people who did very well in life, they will obviously have some or the other yoga going for them. However, when you look keenly into their horoscope and then see how the yoga has manifested, you will see a lot of effort going into the direction where the Raj yoga is giving them strength in and where it is pointing. If not, then you will not find many people with great yogas getting a lot of success without having the effort and working in the direction where how the yoga can be manifested. Sometimes people come and tell me that I have got an exalted sun in the Lagna in Aries. I don't get good results. What is the problem? And I have got a strong 10th house also. An exalted planet need not necessarily mean that you will do very well. An exalted planet means sometimes the relationship that the planet manifests in your horoscope, that relationship is an exalted one. If Sun is exalted in your horoscope, it could mean that your father is a great man, a learned man, a good person, a cultured person, or comes from a good lineage himself. That means you are born in a good lineage, you are born to a good father, you are born to a learned father. The father may not be successful, mind you, he may not have that kind of a money, but if he is a teacher in a college or in an institute and a very loved teacher, very respected teacher, yet he is not getting the money or materialistic benefits, yet you have an exalted sun, because your father, who is represented by the sun, has a lot of respect, and that's what an exalted sun may bring to you, may give you a good lineage, but it is up to you. An industrialist son came to me and said, I have got an exalted sun, why am I not getting great success like my father? I told him that because you have an exalted sun. So exalted sun means that your father has greatness in some areas, he has done well, or their lineage may be good. Exalted sun need not necessarily mean that you will get exalted, because sun is exalted and sun is the fifth lord. Getting into an exaltation in the Lagna means all money gains will come to you, though some manifestation is that. But if you have an exalted planet which is also in a yoga, and if your relationship with that person who represents that yoga or that exalted planet is not good, so if you have an exalted sun, you don't keep good relations with your father, you are not on good terms with your father, you don't treat your father well, even if he blesses you, then you will not be able to extract the benefits of an exalted sun. And it's very, very important that you seek the blessings of the father, respect him, serve him, and take his guidance from time to time. You may need not necessarily listen to your father if he is not from your industry, he is not an expert, But you may go to him for advice and say, I'm trying to do this, and I want your blessings, bless me. Seek the blessings of your father. If son is in a strong yoga, any Dhana yoga or any Raj yoga, son gets involved, be on good terms with the father. But just don't talk nicely. From the bottom of your heart, love and respect your father. Even today when my dad comes home, I can't sit with my legs spread out or sit with my crossed leg. I sit like uptight. It's not because I fear my father, it's the love and respect which has come from generations before us. Whereas my children, they will be all sprawled all over the house, because the way we bring them up is also different. These generations, last 25-30 years, it's a different ball game altogether. So it's important that you understand the relationship. You have an exalted moon, you don't treat your mother well, and this is very, very important for most of the yogas. A lot of the good yogas, the Dhana yogas and the Raj yogas will involve moon. And the Sunafa yogas, the Anafa yogas, and lots of other yogas involve the moon. And if you are not close to your mother, not serving the mother, not seeking the blessings of mother, then forget materialistic benefits in your life. If you get materialistic benefits because of some Dhana yoga formed somewhere else in the horoscope, not involving the moon, but if you're not in good terms with the moon, whole life you will be frustrated, whole life your life will be of anxiety and looking over the shoulder for who's going to take away my money, who's going to take away my limelight. So treating your mother with respect, serving the mother, being on good terms with the mother seeking, giving you her blessing with all her heart is very, very important. And all motherly figures, not just your mother, all women who are elderly, maybe 15 to 20 years older than you, elder sister and aunt, treat all of them with a lot of respect and dignity, and very rarely turn them down. If an aunt who, even if she is a distant aunt, not immediately related to you, through your dad or your mom, through blood relation with them, yet don't turn them down if they come to you for help. Give them some help, give them some support that you can give to them, then your moon will also be strong. So look at what the yoga is giving you. For women, strong Gajkesari yoga, you're not on good terms with your Jupiter, the man in your life, there's going to be a challenge. A good Gajkesari yoga for a woman need not necessarily mean she will have a lot of success and name and fame in life. It could mean that your husband is a good man. Gajkesari yoga, strong Gajkesari yoga does not always mean that your husband comes from a rich family or very respected family. He may come from a family who are very cultured, who are maybe respected also, maybe rich, but definitely the person could also be a good person. Your Jupiter, your man in your life could be maybe a soft person, maybe not be very learned or rich person, but maybe very soft mannered, good mannered. He may have a good soul, and that's why you may have a strong Gajkesari yoga also. You support your husband, you motivate your husband to do things, to understand his power and what he can do. And because your husband does well, because of your motivation, your love and support, your care, you standing by him, he does well, and indirectly you also do well, because Gajkesari yoga means Jupiter, and Jupiter means the spouse or the man in the woman's life. So understand the relations well and manifest in that direction. For men, Venus is critical if you want to do very, very well, and Venus is involved in a lot of Dhana yogas more than the Raj yogas. So if you want to earn a lot of money, you are looking for materialistic benefits, opulence, abundance, treat the Venus in your life well, treat the woman in your life well, and keeping the Venus happy is not easy. I'm not just talking about the woman in general here. The Venus, Shukracharya, very high hygiene, always being at the best of hygiene, well groomed, well shaven too, applying and smelling good, looking good, wearing good clothes. If you are not wearing new clothes, well washed and smelling good clothes are very important. Ensure that your wallet is not torn, ensure that you don't wear torn shoes, Nothing of yours should be torn. Clean comb, clean wallet, well kept money inside the wallet. Don't throw money anywhere around. Fold it well. Respect money. Writing on money is a bad sign for a bad Venus. You are spoiling your Venus by writing on money. You putting coins somewhere where dust is accumulating on it, your Venus is being spoiled. Mistreating women in general in your life, looking down on them or looking at them as objects, again spoiling your Venus. So very, very crucial that hygiene, looks, treating everybody, all the women with respect, keeping your things good, in good condition, whether it's a wallet, your shoes, your car, the house, very, very critical to keep the Venus good. Once I was asking my guru that how to manifest the Ruchak Mahapurush well. So he said, then don't get married and stay away from the women in general. He was joking obviously, but I asked him why did he joke. He said, see, if you look at the Kalpurush Lagna, you will see that Mars and Venus are opposite to each other. The first house is Aries, the seventh house is Libra. Then look at the second and eighth house. Second house is Taurus, eighth house is Scorpio. Again Venus and Mars. So he said Venus and Mars are always opposite to each other. So if you want your Mars to be strong, keep away from Venus. So again he was joking, but what he meant was that for a Ruchak Mahapurush Yoga to do very well, which is formed by Mars, you need to have a lot of sense of purpose to go and do things in life, and so keep away from the materialistic attributes of life. Then don't get too involved in the domestic attributes or chase intimacy or look for love and romance or materialistic gains. For a good Ruchak Mahapurush Yoga to manifest itself well strongly for you, have a lot of aspiration and have the burning desire to succeed and work hard in that direction, and don't pay too much attention to the materialistic attributes of life and keep away from the sensual pleasures. What he meant away from women was more in a joke, in a light-headed manner. He meant as much as possible you keep away from the sensual pleasures. The Ruchak Mahapurush Yoga will do well for you. So understand relations, understand strengths of the planet, understand whether a bad aspect, a bad conjunction is spoiling a yoga for you. Understand whether the yoga itself is strong for you or not, and then understand your own demeanor in your life. If you have a strong sun but you are doing nothing in your life to take the lead, if a new project is around, a volunteer is asked for work, you step forward and say, I will lead the project, I will help. Somebody asks for help at work, you take the lead in helping others. You want to manifest yoga where Saturn is involved, order, structure, commitment, loyalty, long hours of hard work are important, especially in a Sasha Yoga, for example. If you don't do that, if you don't treat colleagues with respect, if you don't treat people who work below you with respect, then obviously you're spoiling your Sasha Yoga. Spoiling the sun is simple with having bad relation with your supervisors and managers, as well as that with Mercury. Mistreating children, not giving time to your children, both Jupiter and Mercury, especially Mercury representing children. Sun rules the 5th house. So if you don't treat children well, that means you don't give them time, you don't give them good values, you don't give them good upbringing, you don't try and make them ideal citizens, then you're spoiling all three. You spoil Jupiter, because Jupiter is the Karaka of children, you spoil Sun. Sun rules the 5th house, natural ruler of the 5th house, and 5th house children represent the 5th house, and Mercury means children, the young people in your life. So very, very important that the right values and right upbringing should be given to children. If you don't do that, then the Bhadra Yoga will not work well for you. Also, if you're too analytical, too complaining in your life, Again, the Bhadra yoga will not work for you, which is formed with Mercury in the Kendra, for example, in its own sign, in either in Virgo or in Gemini. So important that you understand your actions, understand your energies, you look at your behavior, you look at the relationship in life, you look at how strong the yoga is, you look at whether the yoga is being spoiled through an aspect or a conjunction, and then look at which direction the yoga is pointing. If the yoga is pointing in the direction of business, you will have to do business to get success. If the yoga is giving you strength in the direction of service, you will have to get into service. If the yoga is in the direction of spirituality, you will get more success there. If the yoga is pointing towards working with people from different cultures, in that direction, then you will have to move. Yoga is a good yoga. For example, in the 12th house, you have a strong Dhan yoga forming. Then it's better to try and move to foreign lands or move abroad or move long distance away from your birthplace for the yoga to give you better results. A strong yoga, Dhan yoga or Raj yoga in the Lagna, you will have to carry yourself with immense dignity. You will have to carry yourself with a lot of values and moral ethics. Ethically being wrong, morally being wrong, even when you are legally right, will spoil the yoga which is in the Lagna. Anything that you do wrong, being manipulative, being tactful, lying, immediately spoils the Lagna, which is dosha, spoils the yoga which is in the Lagna. Abusive language spoils the yoga in the second house. Mistreating people, using lying and cheating, or saying one thing or being meaning something else, being sarcastic, spoils the yoga in the third house. Not treating the immediate family well, mistreating the mother, not keeping the peace at your home, not being more of a support and trying to be the leader or the ruler at home will spoil the yoga in the fourth house, and so on. So treat yourself with a lot of moral ethics, and have a principled life, have a value driven life, have a structured life, treat others well, work hard, and overall carry yourself as a person who is a good citizen and is a good family member also, good son, good daughter, or good parent, good spouse, good friend, good colleague, and then most of your yogas will fall in place. And last but not the least, if the dasha of the planet is upon you, then you will get better results. The antardasha of the planet is also upon you, you will still get good results. However, the good thing about the Raj yogas are that they don't completely wait only for the dasha is to be upon you. You keep strengthening the planets. The planet which is in a Raj yoga or a Dhan yoga, but it's in a good transit, will also keep giving you opportunities of going ahead. So friend, this is my analysis of what Raj yoga or a Dhan yoga is, how to manifest them and how to extract better fruits from them, and attract abundance and more success for you in life. And look at what your karmic debt is. If any of your karmas are spoiling your yogas, for example, the karmic planets of Saturn, the sixth lord, in some way are getting associated through aspect on the yoga, then you are carrying some karmic debt about those relations and that particular attribute in life. Then that yoga will do well for you, but over a period of time. For example, Saturn aspecting a Lakshmi yoga, say on the 5th house, over a period of time will give you results. If you are good to people, if you keep a good character, you treat other people below you well, you are hardworking, you are committed, and you don't shy away from hard work, then over a period of time that yoga will manifest. Late, but it will definitely give you. So wait for the Raj yoga sometime to click. Don't be in a hurry, and you will find the results coming to you. So friends, like this video, share this video. If you're looking for a personal consultation from me, please reach out to me, the links given below. Understand the yogas in your horoscope, understand where they are pointing, look back at your relations, look back at your behavior, whether you're spoiling the Raj Yoga or not, whether you're working in the direction of the yoga or not, whether the yoga is pointing towards in a certain area of life or a certain business or a certain industry that you work in, but you are in something else, then too you are not manifesting the maximum strength of your yogas. So friends, till some other time with some other video, this is your friend astrologer and guide Irfan signing off. Ciao.